Grand Rising loved ones, welcome back to another episode of Healing Wisdom with me, your favorite spiritual advisor, Empress Oracle. I know today I look a little different. I don't have on the turban, I had shit to do. However, I decided to make today a day for my testimony. I know some of you may or may not have watched my video about sleeping with the enemy, but this right here is my testimony because I don't want you guys to feel like I'm just telling you things from lack of experience. I don't want to seem judgy. I don't want you guys to take me the wrong way. Everything that I say, all the healing wisdom that I have is due to personal experience. I know I'm smiling and shit talking about it because I've been through it, okay? And my reason for being here is to help you guys and show you guys that you can make it through it as well, all right? It's not just me. It's just about you knowing yourself, your self-love, your self-confidence. And just like I tell you guys all the time, when everything seems dark, you have to focus on the light. You have to know better. You have to know yourself. You have to know yourself and know what you're capable of, your destiny, your purpose. You have to realize that your dreams are not just dreams. They are your future reality if you work towards them. Because if you dream it, you can do it, okay? So my testimony is about sleeping with the enemy. I gave you guys a nice video about sleeping with the enemy and the feelings that you may feel because I went through it. So once upon a time, not long ago, I was a hat. No, I'm just playing. I just like that verse. But in real shit though, once upon a time, not long ago, I was sleeping with the enemy. Okay? My life has been quite tumultuous, I must say. However, when you're blessed and you're God's child, you're always safe. So my experience happened, I was 21 years old. And I really, at that time, I was young, but I had my shit together. I was working at Grady Hospital doing medical records. I loved my job. I was working night shift. And, it was great. I was going to school. I was going to cab tech for, I think it was paralegal. I have a degree in criminal justice right now. But at that time, I was going to school for a paralegal certificate, degree, whatever the fuck it's called. And yeah, I thought I had my shit together. I had my daughter. She was a baby, of course, because I had her in 2000. So I was 21. So she's about 4. And, life was going good. And at that time, mind you, when I got pregnant with my daughter, summertime of my junior year in high school. Now, her father, we're not going to talk about him in this video, but let's just say he left me when I was pregnant. Okay, and life pretty much sucked. And then we got back together, and I thought everything was going to be good. Come to find out, he was getting convicted to life in prison. But at the time, I was young, dumb, and full of cum. And, he was not my first love. Honestly, he was not my first love. But he was my high school sweetheart, although he did not go to my high school. And I thought that was my end-all, cure-all. And I went to his appeal trial, come to find out a whole bunch of shit that I didn't really know about. Because he had lied to me, of course. And he had life. He actually had 2 consecutive life sentences, but it got knocked down to 1. So, when I was in high school and stuff growing up, I was a party animal. I was a fucking party animal. Turn lit. Any event, anything you got thrown at ass, I was there. But I wasn't fucking like that. So when I got with him and I got pregnant and stuff. And then he left me, you know, and then got locked up. In my head, I was just like, okay. I thought that he was the one, you know, because before all of that, we used to talk and everything, and he used to gas my head up and all type of shit. I was young. I ain't know that better, you know? So that didn't work out. I went to his appeal trial and found out that, you know, he lied about everything and he had life. And I was heartbroken. And at the time, I thought that I would never, you know, find anybody else who would love me the way he did, even though I was young. It was a little, you know, teenage love or whatever, puppy love, whatever, and stuff. But I had like legit built like my whole life with this nigga in my head and shit. Like I was like, oh, we gonna graduate high school and get married. You know, he was older than me. I was like, oh, I'm gonna graduate high school and get married. Blah 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 blah. Didn't work out. I was shattered. Had a new baby. Well, not a new baby because, you know, she was a toddler by the time I went to his appeal trial. But I was working at Grady Hospital, and I had a friend, and she was like, oh, you know, you so cool, you so nice, blah, blah, blah. You're always by yourself, because I'm always the type of person, I'm kind of low-key. I look extra, because I am. But I be chilling, though. And she was like, you know, I have a friend, and I would like, you know, I think y'all would go good together. So I was like, okay, cool. And then, you know, she introduced me to this guy from Caucasia. But he was very nice. He was tall, white, and handsome. And at that time, I was heartbroken, fresh off. I guess you could say I was on the rebound, you know? And I was just like, well, you know, first of all, when you're young and you don't really have good guidance, especially for males and stuff, you may get misleaded or misguided. So he came to me portraying Prince Charming. I was like, oh my God, he's such a gentleman. He's doing everything right. Blah, 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 blah. And, you know, I got caught up in that. And I wanted to be loved. And I just want to let you guys know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be loved, because love is the greatest power of all. And that's why so many people seek for it. And that's why so many people want it and crave it. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be loved. That is perfectly normal to want to be loved. Love is the greatest power of all. Everybody deserves it. Okay? But first you have to love yourself. And at that time, I did not love myself. But I didn't know I didn't love myself because I was young, dumb, and for the come. Okay? So I met this guy, and I don't know, maybe his spidey senses told him I was like broken or some shit, because he hopped right the fuck on it, and I was ready to go because I was a teenage mom. Well, I was a teen mom, but by that time I was 21. You know, but I had been through a lot. And I just wanted to be loved. He did everything right. And honestly, I knew he was not the one. I knew he wasn't the one. I did. Like, I've been psychic my whole life. Some people have to work on their gifts and their abilities. I was born with it. It's hereditary. It runs in my family. I'm Jamaican. I don't really think that got shit to do with it. I'm just fucking gifted. I was born that way. And I knew he was not the one. However, at the time, my self-esteem, I feel like, was so low. It was so low. I didn't love myself appropriately. And I was just like, well, let me just go ahead and have this experience, because I thought at that time that the love of my life, I was like, well, that's never going to happen. So let me at least enjoy this experience and go ahead and do it. Just say, I did it, because he asked me to marry him very quickly, actually. Like within the first 3 months, he asked me to marry him. And I was like, yeah, sure, right now. Now, keep in mind, it wasn't like a relationship, because I know a lot of people who have known each other for less than 3 months and got married and they still together 10, 15, 18, 20 years later. I do know people like that. However, this was not one of those situations. I didn't know this nigga like that. Okay? We spent a lot of time together, but sometimes you have predators, people who know when your spirit is weak and your flesh is willing. There are people who know you have light and the dark, and he definitely was of the dark. And I think he knew that I was, you know, weak. And also too, now that I think about it, I'm not sure, but I think that the person who I thought was my friend, she was not really my friend. That I found that out later on, that she wasn't really my fucking friend. But, you know, she may or may not have set me up with this nigga on purpose to fuck me up. Who knows? But he did everything right. He was basically like my Prince Charming. And when you're broken, you know, and somebody comes in and they're doing everything right, you feel like it's okay. And that's one thing I learned, and I want to tell you guys, is don't tell your new relationship, whenever you get with somebody, don't just sit there and tell them everything that was done wrong to you from your past relationship. Because if that person, you know, is not balanced, they might use those things against you and do those same things. And then you wonder why. You're like, oh, I got with you. I told you X, Y, and Z. I don't ever want to do this. And you went and did the same shit. It's because you're telling them that you're placing that intention out there. Okay? And that's something that everybody needs to realize. Not just females. Males as well. Don't tell people those things. The negative things that happened to you in your past relationships, leave that in the past. Because you're placing those intentions, you're putting that energy back out there into the atmosphere. At that time, I did not know. So I got with this guy. And just like I was telling you in my Sleeping with the Enemy video, that when you get with somebody and all of a sudden you start getting sick and all types of things, and that's like spirit telling you that person is not for you. The same thing happened for me, but of course I was young and dumb. I didn't fucking know. I got really, 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 really sick. First of all, I married him very quickly. We got married within the first 3 months of our relationship, right? And at first, everything was really good. I'm not even gonna front. I'm not gonna front. Before I sit here and tell y'all some bullshit, I had hella fun. I had hella fun with this Caucasian. Okay, I was a whole rock star. Okay, I was a whole rock star. We did all types of slightly illegal things and stuff, and it was really great. However, as time went on, I started to realize that, you know, he looked at me more as an item, a trophy or something pretty to put on the shelf. But I should be stationary. I should not be moving or talking to anyone. I literally lost everything because of this person. My mom knew intuitively something was not right. Okay, she fought for me. That's why sometimes parents are important, but sometimes you might not even have that. My mom fought for me. She knew something wasn't right. And I got really sick while I was with him. And I kept getting rushed to the emergency room. And they kept telling me that I had a UTI, a urinary tract infection. But they kept giving me medication for this UTI, and I just would not get better. Like, literally, I was in the emergency room, like, every weekend. Like, it was a club. Like, it was ladies free before sand type shit. Okay? And by this time I had got married, I was still working at Grady Hospital and stuff. And I remember one time I was so sick, and they rolled me out in the gurney into the hallway. And they were like, well, we don't know what's wrong with you. You know, it says it's a UTI, blah, blah, blah. We might have to keep you X, Y, and Z. And my husband at the time was like, well, I'm going to call your job and let them know you can't come in, because I was in the emergency room of Grady and I worked upstairs. Okay, well, this guy called and quit my job for me. And because we were married, I don't know how true this is, but what I was told, because once I got better, I called back like, hey, because he told me he was calling to let them know I'm sick, X, Y, and Z, and I'm right downstairs. When I called back, they were like, no, we gave your position to somebody else because your husband called a few weeks back when you were sick and said that you quit. And since he's your husband, he's legally authorized to do that. So I lost my good job that I had that was paying for my child to go to a nice Montessori school. It was paying for my whole livelihood. I lost that because of him. And when I asked him about it, he denied it. Okay, he brushed it off. I'm not going to say he fully denied it, but he got like brushed it off like, oh yeah, well, I felt like you didn't need to work. At the time, I did not realize it was a control factor thing that he was trying to do. I didn't realize that until later on. He moved me away from my family still in Georgia, but he moved me at least, I don't fucking know. He moved me from Stone Mountain to Riverdale. However far the fuck that is. That's at least 45 minutes, 30, 45 minutes to an hour. He moved me away from my family. And at the time, I felt like, this might not be right. So I asked my mom, I said, hey, can my daughter stay with you for a little bit until we get everything settled? She said, okay, yeah. So I moved away, and he tried to keep me isolated and everything. And anytime I wanted to say that I wanted to go to my family, even if it was just to wash clothes, he had a problem with it. And he would be oh so dramatic. And also, too, I should have known when I met him that maybe this might not be it, because they had a Confederate flag right outside their house posted the fuck up. And I was like, oh, that's cute. That's cute. What are we doing? Right? And his brother was like, hey, he's crazy. You might not want to fuck with him. And I was like, ha. Because everybody say I'm crazy. So I was like, shit, let's go. No, he was really crazy. While I was married to him, I lost all of my friends. As I said, I was sick. And because he was my husband, he was authorized to fill my prescriptions. And come to find out, he was drugging me to keep me complacent, to keep me, because whenever I was in my right mind and sober, I was hella fucking feisty, and I was like, this shit ain't right. So he would drug me. He would give me, his mom was not terminally ill, but close. I don't remember what she had wrong with her, but he would give me her medications along with my medications. And it got to the point my mom was like, listen, something ain't right. Every time I come see you, you're not right. Stop letting him give you your medicine. And I was like, okay, you're right. And I started paying more attention, and he would give me like 6 pills. And really, I was only prescribed 2. So as I started paying attention, I realized that he was drugging me, giving me his mother's medication. And I don't know what the fuck it was for, but I could have died. Okay? And then also, too, like, I would sleep with him, of course, because we were married. But it would be sometimes, it would be like I was sleeping with somebody else. I would be with him sometimes, and we'd be good to go. And then all of a sudden, it's like he would just turn dark. Whenever I say turn dark, when I say that, what I mean is he would go from one person who's like a happy, vibrant person to all of a sudden he would just be like a demon. But he was never mean to me. He was verbally abusive, though. And I would say mentally and emotionally abusive. And because I ain't no punk bitch. And growing up, how I grew up, I'm from the Bronx. I grew up around all brothers, all cousins. I grew up fighting. So it got so toxic to the point where whenever we would go out anywhere, he would try to publicly embarrass me and say things to degrade me and stuff. And I am the type of person where I don't do all that fuck shit. But I beat the nigga ass when we get home, though. And I don't condone domestic violence at all. I don't condone domestic violence. But I grew up around all brothers and male cousins and stuff. I grew up fighting guys. Even in school, I used to fight the guys for fun. And I'm not saying it's right, but he had me fucked up. And at that time, I was unbalanced. I was young. I was immature. I did not know any better. I was not on a spiritual path or journey. And, the best way for me to retaliate, he hurt me with his words and with the mind games and emotional manipulation. The best way for me to get back was to put them paws on him. So I used to do that. And it was very wrong. And it got to the point where our relationship was so toxic that my mom used to be like, hey, be careful. I'm praying for you before you go to bed. I would go to sleep and wake up, this nigga staring at me, breathing hard, talking in his weird voice. I used to always wonder why sometimes he would be talking to me and his eyes would just get bloodshot red, like the color of my shirt. They would just get red and his voice would get like super deep and stuff. And his brother always be like, oh, he's crazy. But he always be like, oh, he's a hater, blah, 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 blah. I really didn't pay it no mind because, I'm crazy too. So that shit really don't bother me unless, you do some extra shit. Well, eventually I had to let him go because I lost everything because of him. As I said, he was drugging me. He would put Tylenol PM like in my drinks, like mash it up, all type of shit to make me go to sleep. I'm sorry, I said made me go to sleep, made me fall asleep. And I remember one day he did that, and I woke up and he came in the house bloody. And I'm like, where are you coming from? And he was like, oh, yeah, I just wrecked your car. It's gone now. But don't worry about the car. What about me? I'm like, nigga, what? Excuse my French. I was like, sir, excuse me, sir. You know? So, and then I also found out that he drained my bank account. And then I also found out that my Montessori school that my child was going to, that I was paying for my good Grady job, that he quit for me. And he said he would pay for her tuition. He was not paying it. Yeah. And eventually it just got so bad. He robbed my neighbor. I had a neighbor. This man had to be like 85. Okay, maybe 83. But he was like an alcoholic, but he was a functioning alcoholic, a nice man. Nice man. He just liked to drink. And he robbed my neighbor one night and beat him up so bad and left him out there bloody, beaten, and took his whole Social Security check money from him. And came in the house, I'll never forget this night. He came in the house bloody with this money, like, oh yeah, baby, I got this money. I was working hard. I'm about to go buy you a new, upgrade your ring. And I was like, sweetie, so where'd you get that from? I don't want it. And couldn't find out shortly thereafter, because my neighbor was found outside, unconscious, bloody. And I knew it was him that did it. And after I beat him in the head with a family pack of frozen chicken for that, I was like, this is not going to work out. It's not going to work out. Okay? I don't want to go to jail. You're toxic. I'm sleeping with the enemy. Literally, I lost everything because of him. He was so jealous. He didn't want me to see my family. If I wanted to go to my family's house, even to wash clothes, he would fake suicide. He would say he's going to cut himself. I lost my vehicle. I lost all of my money. I lost my job. I lost my mind. He tried to get me pregnant, but he stressed me out so bad that I had a miscarriage. Okay? And like literally I lost everything. And it got to the point where I was like, you have to go. He didn't want to go. And he was like, I'm not going to divorce you. He was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to divorce you. I was like, okay, that's fine. You just have to go. And it took me years to get a divorce. I finally had to get an uncontested divorce because he was serious about that shit. But by the time he left me, or by the time I kicked him out and he left to go ruin somebody else's life, I had literally lost everything. I was losing my hair. I had lost weight. I had lost the baby. I lost my car. I lost my job. He drank my bank account. I lost everything. And I was in the house just sitting there, just crying, keeping to myself, to the point where my mom was like, listen, we got to go take you to the doctor. Something's not right. When I went to the doctor, I found out I had a nervous breakdown. And at that point, I felt like I was crazy, never to return. And sometimes I know guys sleeping with the devil. They fill your mind with stuff and they do things. And your mind gets so far gone, like you feel like you can't get it back. But I knew I had something to live for. I had my child. I had myself. I've always known since I was a child, the vision and destiny that I have for myself. And I had to hold true to that. I'm sorry if I'm rocking. I got to pee real bad. I had to hold true to that. And I want you guys to hold true to that with yourselves. Even though you may be sleeping with the enemy, it's up to you. It's up to you to be strong. Because God, spirit, source, whoever, never gives us more than we can handle. And sometimes it's a test to know your strength and know your worth. I was able to do it. And that's why I come and talk to you guys. And if ever you need help, I'm here for you. And with that being said, I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your day. I just wanted to tell you my brief testimony. That was not the whole story. Short synopsis. But be blessed and don't forget to check out my website. okay? For all your spiritual grounding needs. www.empressoracle333.com. You guys be blessed. I love you.